Mic check. Okay, we should be live. I think you can hear everything okay. I had to do my setup all new. That's why the camera is a little bit on a different position today. I do see minor technical issues as far as dropped frames are concerned. I hope that's not too much of a deal. I remember having that last time. We'll just go with it for now until you guys tell me otherwise. Alright, so what are we going to do today? Today we're going to play some Singleton. As part of the War of the Spark release in Magic the Gathering Arena, the third part is named Storm the Citadel, and the game mode for that is Singleton. You can see it up here in the launcher. Storm the Citadel, Singleton. Part 3 of this release is Singleton. Bring a deck with no more than one copy of any card other than basic lands. An alternate London-mulligan rule will be used for this event. I already prepared a deck for this play mode that I have been... It's somewhat fun to play with. I have been playing somewhat successful with this deck, and London-mulligan is something I'll get to right now because it's quite different from the regular mulligan in that basically in the regular game modes in Magic, when you draw your 7 starting cards and you don't like them, typically what you do is take a mulligan. So you discard your 7 cards, shuffle them back into your deck, shuffle your library, and then you draw 1 less card. So you would draw a 6 card for the first time you take a mulligan. And then you look at your 6 card, and if you like him, you play with them. If you still don't like him, you can mulligan again, but this time drawing 1 less card, so you would draw 5, and so on and so on. It's questionable whether you should mulligan more often than twice. There's chances you're still able to pull out ahead of your opponent when you mulligan for the 3rd time. We're starting with only 4 cards. But as soon as you get past that and you find yourself taking a mulligan 4 or more times on quite often, then you'll probably need to make modifications to your deck in general so that you don't have to take a mulligan that often, that whatever you don't like with your starting hand, you make modifications to your deck that scenario doesn't come up as often, and you don't have to take a mulligan as often. So with a London mulligan, it is similar to that when you start the game, you shuffle your library and you draw the top 7 cards. Now, instead of discarding all of them and drawing 1 less, you discard all of them and then obviously shuffle your library, but then draw 7 again. And when you like your 7 cards that you drew again after the mulligan, you have to put one of the cards from your starting hand on the bottom of your library. So you'll start out with 6 cards, but you have basically a choice of which of the 7 cards you don't have to begin with, because it's at the bottom of your library now. Now, that's one key advantage of the London mulligan towards the regular mulligan. And also keep in mind, if you play a deck that depends on, or where you can basically influence the order of cards in your library, you now have an important knowledge advantage that you know which card is at the bottom of your library until you shuffle your library. So if you have any draws or cards in the deck that in general make you shuffle your library, you can change the position of that last card that you discarded. But other than that, you know already which card is the last card of your library, and if you never shuffle it during the game, you will probably never draw that card. So that's important to know. Now, if you mulligan more than once under the London mulligan rule, you can do that as with regular mulligans, and you always draw up to 7 cards, but the cards you put on the bottom of your library always increases by 1. So if you mulligan a 2nd time, you draw 7 cards, but then you have to discard, not discard, important, you don't discard them. You have to put 2 cards on the bottom of your library in the order that you choose. So that's important. Again, if you have ways to manipulate your library, then it is important to remember which cards you put on the bottom of your library in which order. Unless, of course, you shuffle your library, which at that point it's random. So you can do that every time, and with London-mulligan, you can mulligan. It's more I personally feel more comfortable mulligan more often than on the regular mulligan, because you always draw up to 7 cards, and you can, of these 7, choose which cards you would like to keep. So if you mulligan a second time, you only have to put 2 on the bottom, leaving you with 5 cards out of the 7 that you would like to play, really. Obviously, if you can't come up with those 5, you have to mulligan again. But chances are that out of the 7, it's a lot easier to choose 5 and put 2 back on the bottom of your library than only drawing 5 in the first place and be stuck with them. So that's important, and you will see that coming up as we go into our first round. And we'll just start a game from at this point. You'll see the mulligan happening. Hopefully not, but if I have to do one, you'll see it happening right here. Waiting for an opponent. Looks like we found one. For me, the game is stuck. Here we go, Murphy's Law, it's our opponent. And so far this game mode is not really any different from the regular game mode. So it's asking me if I want to mulligan yes or no, and I'm not super convinced of my starting hand, but I start out with 3 land cards, one of them is dual color. This would allow me to not play a card on the first turn, because I really would like to get this out for my first turn for the 1 green, but the only green mana source that I have comes into play tapped. Anyways, I'll not mulligan, and I'll play it that way, so I'll play my Jade Bearer basically on the second turn. And then the other key fact of Singleton, as I mentioned initially, is that you can only have 1 copy of each card in your deck. So I only can have 1 Jade Bearer in my deck whatsoever. So I can't add a second copy of it. My opponent can't have a second copy of London Vanguard in his deck. So that's important to remember. Alright, so if we draw another land, we can play all the cards in our hand. If you're not familiar with what it means to curve out, as I said initially, curve out basically means that for the first couple of turns, you're able to always play a land, like drop a land, at least 1, and also play a spell. So for the first 3 at least, if not 4 to 5 turns, you really want to be able to put down a mana source and put out a spell that's advantageous to your play. So we got lucky there drawing our land, and we are leaving a green mana source open. I would like to get Kopala out. That gets me a Merfolk token, and also if my opponent targets any of my Merfolk with an ability or a spell, he has to pay up, basically. We're gonna keep attacking, because if he chooses to block that Jade Bear, we can eat his Knight. And we don't want to give his Knight the advantage on turn 3 to become +2/+1. He's not choosing to block, that's smart, I wouldn't have done the same thing. And we basically end our turn. So he has 2 Knights now. That leaves us the option to block. one of his attackers. I'm trying to kill someone who has a lifelink. When Scar's devotion enters the battlefield, create one. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So it gives him the 3/3. If we eat that Leon and Vanguard, it looks really tasty. He has 1 black for a cantrip. We're gonna pass. We want to try and eat and see what he does. Block. Giant growth. The reason I chose to block here is because I could get rid of 2 cards and his life gain. So that was important for me. Plus 1 card I can't block. Do I want to play that? Next turn he's gonna get giant knights. We'll probably want to save our mana so that we can send one of them back to his hand and chump block the other one. So we're not gonna attack because we played our only cantrip. So his knights for this turn are gonna be big, and he'll probably choose to attack with them. Just as I predicted. So we're gonna pass, chump block 1, block, and before he assigns the damage, we're gonna return this to his hand, which basically takes it out of the game because you cannot have tokens in your hand. So he does not get a token card into his hand or so, it's just that the token gets removed from the game. Leaving him with basically killing one of my token merfolk. And then his knight should become a 2/2 at the end of the turn. He has a ton of white creatures. Okay, so Titanic Brawl is nice. Right now we don't really... We need a land. We can produce a chump blocker. But right now I don't really have anything that would give counters on my merfolk. So we have a couple of options for blocking. Except target creature and opponent controls. Okay. So at the end of his turn, we'll probably Titanic Brawl the Bishop of Binding, if we would have had the mana. So we're not gonna do that, and now we basically wait until we draw a card that is beneficial to us. I'm not gonna play out Skatewing because I can't adapt him right now, and we don't have any +1/+1 counters on the game anyways. Skatewing is a tiny bit of a win condition for me because if I have merfolk, I typically try to have merfolk with at least 1 counter on in the game, and then so if I'm like in a stalemate situation, kind of like we're getting into right now, I'll just plop down Skatewing. All of my +1/+1s are flying all of a sudden or can't be blocked, and then I'll just swing for the win. Let's see if he's choosing to attack. Okay. We resolve. We're gonna post up Titanic Brawl, and we're gonna have the Herald of Streams battle the Bishop of Binding so that we get an additional blocker. And he has enough mana for a stupid cantrip, so we're gonna do this and do this. And then we could eat... No, I'm not gonna eat it right now. I'll leave it at that. Okay, play that. Get another chump blocker. And now I'm gonna pick my Merfolk hero. There's one legendary creature in here. Kumina. Come on, let me choose Kumina. And Kumina allows me to put +1/+1 counters on my Merfolk as soon as he gets into the play. So we hold out for one more turn. We don't really want to risk attacking with any of our creatures. And then Kumina's abilities have the advantage that he must have something in the back of his hand. I really don't wanna so that gives me 1, 2, 3. I'm losing 6 life. Leaves me with with 1. Unless he has like moment of triumph or something. Oh, left me with 2. See, doing my math wrong. Okay, I'm gonna play this guy. We have 6 now. And we're gonna not attack with anyone because we need all of our blockers. And now what we can do is, the plan for the next turn, or for his turn, is when he attacks, we're gonna block each of his attacker, and then put a +1/+1 counter on all our Merfolk by tapping after assigning blockers. So, oh dang it, I did not account for that. Well, that's game. That happens. That happens. Alright, we're just gonna do that again. And that's basically Singleton. So the game Magic the Gathering Arena is helping you by when you create a Singleton deck, by when you start that game mode and you don't have a Singleton deck yet, you'll just edit one and it will only allow you to put cards compatible for that game mode into your deck. So that's actually quite good, so that you it will either give you a warning if you add a card that is not allowed in that game mode, or it will just not allow you to add that card. So we're gonna mulligan here, and you'll see we're gonna draw another 7 cards, which is my opponent did the same. I think we're gonna keep this hand, which is quite risky. We only have 2 lands, and then we're gonna put on the bottom of our library this Salvager of Secrets. So now it's asking me return 1 card. So I'm gonna put the Salvager of Secrets on the bottom of my library. So I now know that it is there, and I'll probably not draw it anyways. Okay. He starts out strong. We're gonna put in our creature. Okay, we got rid of one of his removals for that creature. Not sure if that was really worth it on his end. There's not much I can do this turn, because I have to turn the Evolving Wells into a regular basic land. Missing out on that mana. So he's has a significant advantage over me by now. See if he can recover from that. If we draw a land next turn, we might be able to pull it off. If we don't, then well, we're on the back foot already. So before my turn starts, I'm gonna turn this into an island. And then we can at least play the Deeproot Champion, which one of his removals is already gone. He'll probably has another, but we need to draw. It's basically imperative. Yep, it's basically imperative that we draw a land next turn. If we don't, we might as well give up. So, and we didn't, so we can't do anything. And then if we next turn don't draw a land, we give up. That's why you should always mulligan if you only started with 2 lands. Unless, of course, your deck can handle playing with only 2 lands, but that's really it. Okay. So yeah, if we don't draw a land next turn, we have basically no chance of handling the advantage that he has over us. I don't know why he did that, because he could have just attacked with all of the creatures first and then played this. So that was a mistake on his end, but he's also having only 2 lands in play, so yeah, at this point we discard, concede. So he had the same issue as I had. He didn't draw any lands, but he was able to play a lot more cards on those 2 mana than I was. I don't see any more dropped frames, so I hope that the streaming quality has improved by now compared to the start of the stream. Alright, so that's plenty of lands, and then nothing for the first couple of turns. We'll keep that. That's favorable to having lots we could play and having no lands. So our opponent took a mulligan once. And then he seems to still... Either he seems to consider which card to put on the bottom of his library or whether to mulligan again, and we'll see these cards move if he decides to mulligan again. Alright, so he put the card on the bottom of his library. The reason why I use Evolving Vial's ability on his end step is that at this point I don't want to give him an advantage of knowing which colors my deck are. So he played a white, but he doesn't know at this point until I actually pull a forest out of my deck that he's playing against the green deck. So I want to give him the least amount of information as late as possible in the game. Okay, I could have played another forest, but I have, if I draw my 1 mana, 2 blue, I really would have had the option to choose, but I want to play the second forest or the second island. Could a +1/+1 counter and Jungle Delver. So Jungle Delver. I'm gonna put another forest in play. Then if we do not draw anything playable, we could either go for Path of Discovery or for adding a counter on Jungle Delver. So adding a counter on Jungle Delver. Well, that he has hexproof doesn't really mean anything to me, because I don't have any spells in my deck that would attack him directly. And putting a counter on Jungle Delver, I would need to do that twice. Oh, that's a good card. I'm gonna be playing Path of Discovery in order to get more lands into my hand. Hopefully more lands, or at least get creatures with +1/+1 counters on it out of that, because as I said, Skatewing is in this deck exactly for the reason that when I have creatures with +1/+1 counters in the game. Oh, nice. That they all fly, and so Merfolk Mistbinder. That's a nice card, because then I have a Disperse open, or I will basically destroy his Tayo, I guess, by playing Tempest Caller. And then having my Jungle Delver attack. That's a nice card to have. Have my Jungle Delver attack. Wait. Oh shoot. Wait, you have hexproof? Why did none of his cards tap? I did not get that. Does hexproof? So when it says target player, target opponent, that means because he is hexproof, I cannot choose him as a target? Interesting. And because the spell is written that it is target opponent and not target creatures, hexproof prevents his creatures from being tapped. Well, we learned something new. We want to definitely want to play divination in hopes of drawing a land that we can plop down, and I hope it's a forest. Nope, but that's good too, because now we know for the next 2 turns we wouldn't have drawn a land either. But I can attack with my Tempest Caller to get rid of his hexproofness or eat one of his walls. Okay, that's good. But okay, we could return this to his hand, but then he would just play it again, so that's a moot point. Why does he proliferate? He doesn't have any counters. Ah, he gets a loyalty counter. Got it. But that means he doesn't have anything useful in his hand right now he could play instead. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. We can proliferate to a Deep Root Champion. Whenever I cast a non-creature spell. Sounds good, probably. We want to proliferate. We want to explore. Dang it. I really want that card, but I also want a land. So what we're gonna do is we have Jungle Delver attack Tayo again. And just remove the loyalty counter he just put on. Or instead Giant Growth, Jungle Delver, and eat his wall, giving Deep Root Champion another +1/+1 counter. I think this was quite the move that we should have done. And then next turn we'll play Merfolk Mistbinder and Merfolk Skydiver, giving another +1/+1 counter. We'll probably I typically give the +1/+1 counter to the Skydiver just to, but he's getting another loyalty counter. Probably accumulating another wall creature. Okay.
Support my allies.
Well, he knows which card we are drawing. So what are we doing? He has 2 blockers. This is also a nice option, but we need the flyers. So we will do we will do this. Yes, there's a basic land. And then we will do, he doesn't have any mana, so we will do this as well. Get a +1/+1 counter on the Skydiver. We don't want this one right now. And then we attack Tail. Eating into the wall. Until, I don't know, if he proliferates again, then he has a whole hand of cards that don't do much for him, I think. Oh! No idea why he gave up. I had really no idea. Like, it didn't look that bad for him. Obviously, I don't know the situation there. Let's do it again, I guess. But you kind of got the gist of the deck that I put together here. Basically, most of my cards are merfolk that synergize with one another in some form. And then I have a couple of cards in the deck. Some of them are merfolk and the skater that do something with creatures that have +1/+1 counters on them. And the reason why I'm playing this is because, for the most part, I did not spend any money on Magic yet, so I mostly play with the cards that I gain by playing the game anyways. By looking at the entire library of cards that I had available, the merfolk were the ones that I had the most of, just by chance, I guess. And since their theme is to synergize together anyways, that's the deck that I ended up with. Okay. So we're gonna play this. Play this. Then attack. And that should be it for now. We have a good hand because for the next couple of turns we have lots of options that we can play. And you gain 2 life, that's nothing we're afraid of. He can now double block to eat the Mistbinder. Should that happen, we'll just remove the Mistbinder or one of his blockers from the equation. Should I bring the Herald or should I bring the Discovery? I'm gonna bring the Herald. Since we have another mana at hand that we could use for playing the Path of Discovery. He's not choosing to block. His Sloth, and then we bring the Herald, right? Yes. And then we'll probably want to choose Kopala again, which is kind of like my hero merfolk in this deck. No, Kumina, I'm sorry. Not Kopala. Kopala is nice too. I typically draw Kopala when I've already found Kumina by just drawing regularly. He's probably reading the card. What if your library, if it's a land card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Nice. He has nothing. The only thing I'm worried about is him plopping down like a big mana creature like green typically does when they have plenty of mana available. So this turn we are going to only attack with the Forerunner for the sake of having... No. I'm gonna attack with the Mistbinder as well. Let's see what happens. Disperse is kind of our get out of jail card. And he's not choosing. Oh, he's blocking. He's not double blocking though. Unless he's playing like Titanic Growth or some cantrip. Here he is not. Interesting. Interesting. What do you do with all the mana you have? Okay, so he is. So then we'll just disperse this creature. And his spell will fizzle. We don't deal any damage with Forerunner, but we're still doing 3 damage with Merfolk Mistbinder. Boom. And then because we can't play the Passive Discovery now, we'll end up playing Kumina. Which in turn, if we draw another Merfolk creature we can play, then we have the ability to tap 5 untapped Merfolk, so instead of attacking next turn, I'll just use Kumina's ability to put counters on every creature, basically, because most of the creatures I play are Merfolk anyways. Let's draw a card. Yes, please do that. Draw all the cards you need to your heart's content. You don't have any mana open, so I'm not afraid of anything. Don't want to run into this Rogue's Oracle just yet, so that's why next turn we're not gonna attack anyways. Pass attackers. Yes, yes, please do whatever. We don't really have anything. It gave me the option basically to use his 1 Merfolk tap ability. So what we do now is we'll just plop down Path of Discovery. And then at the end of his turn, we will draw a card by tapping 3 Merfolk. Instead of tapping 5 Merfolk because there's no Merfolk available. The one other enchantment you saw at the beginning of my very first game that puts in Merfolk tokens also synergizes very well with Kumina, where you'll just have a reserve of tokens available that if you don't use them for chump blocking, you can still tap for either drawing cards or putting counters on them. And because they have hexproof built in, they become all the more valuable because of that. When you cast an order spell that target runes once created 3/3 game beast creature token. Okay. Aura spells. I don't like aura spells very much, especially not enchantments. Okay, I've seen that one again. I mean, I've seen that one already. You choose to attack. He does not. So if it says my turn, I'm gonna use his ability to tap 3 untapped Merfolk that I control to draw a card. I'm gonna submit these 3 and draw a card. That's a Benthic Biomancer. And there's a land. There's the Benthic Biomancer. And so what I'm gonna do is, since this guy has Adapt, and Adapt only works if he does not have any counters on, I really just adapt him before I use his ability to put counters on people. Okay. Okay. No. Well, so much for that, since I didn't adapt. Well, forget about the adapt part. Now it has a counter on them already. We're gonna pass our turn in order to not tap any attackers. Since we need all 5 of our Merfolk tappable in order to get counters on them or draw cards, but I really want to get counters on them since I have 5 of them in play. And then next turn, for example, if we draw the skater, what was that? Yeah, you get your beer. Enchant creature +7. Okay. Oh, that's a powerhouse. 9-10 trample. Sheesh. What do we do about 10 trample? We could block him with two of our guys if he chooses to attack with it. He does not. He has a 9-10 trampler in play and he doesn't want to attack. Well, and we can proliferate, so... No! Oh, I forgot to put counters on our merfolk. That's how it happens when I don't put the stop timer. That will be the mega move at the end of our turn. Now we're missing on one set of counters. Arrgh. That makes me really sad. Makes me really sad. Okay, so I hopefully that happens when I stream while playing, really. Typically that doesn't really happen to me. He's good about drawing and revealing the land cards with his Dryad Greenskeeper. Greenseeker. He's getting like tons of value out of that. He's probably gonna choose green since that's all the cards he has, and I don't know this life gain gets him anywhere because he doesn't get anything for the life he gains, other than maybe a turn or two. Maybe he doesn't choose to attack with Druid of Horns because he wants more beasts. I'm thinking. All we need really is one of either the skater or one of the other merfolk that makes all merfolk with a +1/+1 counter unblockable, and we would just sneak in for the win. So I still have plenty of options to deal with the druid. Okay, please attack with anything, really. He's not. Alright, so now we wait for his end step. And then you'll see the goodness that's gonna happen. Alright, so I want to use his tab 5 untap merfolk you control, put a +1/+1 counter on each merfolk you control. We're gonna submit these 5. And we can still make him unblockable for... Oh, we don't need that forest. Got that out of the way. And then we use her ability to proliferate, putting another counter on everyone. So Kumina swings in for 5. That's fair. We don't need that one. And then our turn starts. Jade Light Ranger. Jade Light Ranger is okay. So what do? We can play Jade Light Ranger. I think that's what we should do. And then we should use Jade Light Ranger to make Kumina Tyrant of Ruska untappable, unblockable. He's destroying an enchantment, which is fine. I don't really care for that enchantment anymore, since I have my token engine up and running. I don't really want that right now. Okay. We're gonna keep that card because when I put another card counter on Biomancer and can discard this forest instead, I don't really need much more mana right now. I have enough to proliferate. He can't be blocked this turn. I want to use that. I want to tap the Jade Light Ranger. And then attack, cancel, 2 combat, 2 attackers. Attack with this guy, 1 attacker. Deal damage. Bang. End turn. Put a stop here. Yes, yes, do your thing. Wrath of Mammoth. You're an 8/8 trampler. Other creatures you control have trample. Nice. Nice. Very nice. So this could get hairy. This could get really hairy. Pass to attackers. Okay. So now we need to resolve this situation. Pass. 2 blockers. We're gonna eat... Why is my mouse not moving correctly? Okay. This guy is gonna eat this guy. 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 And this guy is gonna eat this guy. Nope. Let's eat the life gain instead. Now watch what happens. We are gonna assign blockers. We have 5 untapped merfolk, so we're gonna use this ability to tap 5 more merfolk to get counters on all of our merfolk. We're gonna... Oh, 5 I said. We're gonna draw another card. Yes, that's our win condition. No, that's not the right one. And then we're gonna proliferate to put even more counters on people. Yeah, sure. And basically we won the game at this point. Little does he know that I can... No, can I proliferate again? I can't. I'm 1 mana short. Okay. Well, I have 1 anyways. That was plenty overkill. He didn't really have much in terms of removal or cantrips, I guess. I'm not sure really what he had in his deck that could have posed a danger to me, since he would have needed to handle the Kumana token generation engine, like the +1/+1 counter generation engine. But yes, this is one way my deck works really nice. Obviously in Singleton, it feels really nice if you can use your removals or other spells to handle key creatures to the deck of your opponent. So since he can have only 1 copy, I mean, Kumina is a legendary anyways, but bear with me, since you can in general have only 1 copy of each card in your deck, more so than with legendary cards in general. Basically every card in your deck becomes legendary, and if you remove it out of the game, you exile it, you kill it, or return it to the owner's its owner's hand, or basically if you're able to handle with that one, if you're basically able to handle that one copy of a card, that's out of the game. It's handled. There's no second copy of that card in the game that your opponent could play. So if you're like, oh shoot, he has this super nasty card that I somehow need to overcome, and you find a way to deal with it, then you're not super disappointed when he just plops down the second copy of it, because he can have up to 4 in his deck. So that's another thing I really like about this game mode. My absolute favorite game mode in Magic the Gathering Arena that was last week, where I did not do a video last week, is Pauper. And Pauper is a fun thing because it allows you to only have cards of the common variety in your deck. So all cards in your deck are common cards. They have the common rarity, like have this black or black outline symbol, and you cannot put in uncommons, you cannot put in rares, and you cannot put in mythics. And because there's no common planeswalker, there's also no planeswalker in the deck. And really, the power curve is something different in a Pauper deck than it is in a Singleton or a regular Magic deck, for that matter. And since the editions available in Magic Gathering Arena are very limited, there's also a very limited set of cards that you can choose from to build your deck. And this is perfect for beginners, because most of your cards out of your booster pack are commons anyways. So you have a good set of library that you can choose from to build a Pauper deck, if you open any number of boosters, really. And you probably have like a whole lot of common wild cards to fill up whatever you need or you think you need. What was I supposed? Oh yeah, I wanted to go to the store because I have 1,000 coins to get another booster. Just see what we get. Packs. Yep, get that one. Open it up. And something is wrong with my mouse. Oh, there's a little hair. There's a little hair. Okay, for some reason there was like something, so I totally didn't see which card we drew there. So let's do another one, shall we? Let's see. We'll do a couple more, and then we're close to 1 hour. 1 hour of streaming. We'll probably stream until it's like 11. Sure, we keep that. 11 p.m. West Coast time, and then we'll call it a day for today. Nice. It always surprises me that the card that you want to have on turn 1, he starts out with on turn 1. You're playing green, so to say. I'll probably show my forest on turn 3, so that he doesn't know we're playing green until that turn. You're choosing to attack with your elf. Okay. Interesting. Here we go. And then we play the Silvergill Adept. You're gonna reveal... you're gonna reveal the Oracle. Draw another card. Nice. So land-wise, we're good. We have 5 mana, so at least until turn 5 we can curve out real nice for as far as mana is concerned. Don't need to be worried about that too much. I'll play Copalar next, although white, well, he has enchantments with flash, or enchantments in general, like that could target our merfolk. So we could play Kopala next turn for... I really want to plop down the forest next turn in case I draw anything that costs 2 green. Because some of these cards that I have in my deck really cost 2 green. So plopping down that forest now really helps. And then whatever he would like to do to our Silvergill Adept directly, he now would need to pay up for. We did not attack because he had his elf ready to block. I'm not yet willing to sacrifice my adept for his elf, since I can put counters on it, or just eat his planeswalker.
Balance comes.
I guess. So next turn what we're gonna do is, depending on what we draw, obviously we'll plop down the island. We'll not plop down the Gateway Plaza because that doesn't give us enough mana to play Kamina. We're gonna plop down the Hinterland Harbor instead. And then how much damage to a player, which is what we want to do. And then this guy is attacking here, and this guy is attacking here in order to draw another card.
Most wounds can heal.
Nice. We really don't want to give him the emblem, because then we're in big trouble. So let's hope it doesn't get to that. Okay, that's a little bit annoying. But since we can deal with these tokens with Disperse, we can just easily send back this knight to his hand. Ideally, or... well, I don't have to, but...
No one knows the wilds like I do.
Yeah. Stop talking and do whatever you're doing. Tanitha. Chose not to attack. Just fine. Or to be expected, I guess. Island. Do I want that Disperse? I think I want that Disperse. Since I want to save one of my guys if I have to. Next, I will attack. I'm not gonna give him Kopaler. Could give him the Silvergill Adept. I really want that as my 5th Merfolk. Okay, interesting.
I'm not losing everything again.
And then that leaves us with enough mana for Disperse and also drawing a card. So do I want to disperse one of his knights in order for them to not get big at the end of this turn or at the end of his turn? Sure. I don't think he'll attack with any of them. We saw you coming from far away, Denitha. Each creature you control, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. Okay, we will disperse Denitha instead, so that she doesn't get a counter. Because we don't want him to have a 3/3 first striker. And then in 2 turns, if all else equal, our Merfolk are gonna be having tokens and unblockable anyways. So
I've seen things that would break someone like you.
this is another one of my winning conditions where create your creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. So since I can put counters, or should be able to put counters on merfolk when I have them in play, I can also attack with 5 merfolks that can't be blocked, basically. So that's nice. We really want to remember to draw that card. I could block one of his attackers and he can't do anything about it. So he needs to attack with both knights if he wants to deal damage this turn. It's not gonna... yeah, it's to be expected. So we're really gonna use this to draw a card. 1, 2, 3. Oh, another one of our winning conditions as soon as we have counters. Blue. I have 2 greens, I'm not really concerned about not having greens on there. I could get back my disperse, which is really nice. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Don't have enough mana to play it, but yes, you do that. This is gonna hurt. Yeah, do that.
You can't stop nature.
Do you lead more land? Or do you just do that to get loyalty counters? Oh, probably the latter. Because that token is sweet! Vivian Raid. You get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. You don't want to play against a player that has that token in play. You don't. That's what makes her a mythical planeswalker. Alrighty, you're done? What is it that you're waiting for? You're waiting for... yeah, so you come in. Yep, we saw you coming. So at this point we know the cards that he has in his hand. We don't know any of the cards that he has in his hands, really. Wait, how are you supposed to... oh, it's a land card, it's not even a basic land card. Nice. Can't attack or block. Fine, since we'll still be able to tap him. And that's really all we want to do with Kumina anyways. So we're 1 blocker short. Okay, we'll pass. We're gonna take 10 damage. Yep, we're gonna put a counter on the end step here. Bomb, ouch. I don't think I have life gain in my deck, I'm not aware of it. Alright. Counter time! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. My turn. Jade Bearer, +1/+1 counter on another token. On another merfolk control. Okay. Do I want to put the gateway? Nope. Not do the math. I'm terrible at that. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 damage on the board. That's not quite enough. Which way are we gonna deal this? not gonna attack until our merfolk are big enough, basically, and we'll have options for blockers. Next turn, we could make them flying or unblockable or both. We'll probably make them flying, since I don't know if he has any flyers in his deck, and we can still make him unblockable to win. I don't want him to remove my Herald of Streams. If possible, I want to make him remove my Skatewing Spy, which is not a merfolk, but we have plenty of merfolk in play at this time. And I'm just rambling on to pass the time because my opponent obviously has troubles deciding what he wants to do. I'm still glad I sent back the Nithak Compassion, since a 2/2 first striker is something I would rather handle all day long over a 3/3 first striker. I do have my Disperse, so I need to pay attention to that fact. We'll pass to attackers. Please, we'll pass to end of combat. Okay. We put more tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we want to disperse someone? We don't really. We want to keep that. Tempest Caller. Tempest Caller is nice, since now we can tap all his creatures. Another one of getting his guys out of the way. I think we do want to do Skatewing instead. Oh, that leaves enough mana for the Disperse. We have 5, 9, 13, 15, 19 damage on the board, and we can still afford a Disperse should we play our Plaza. Not sure there why he said good game. Don't like that. Next. We're gonna get rid of this Planeswalker. Okay. So he has a reach creature with first strike. Fine. Gonna attack those two. We want to draw a card? No, I'd rather keep a blocker.
Scars are lessons written in skin.
Can draw another card at the end of the turn. Yeah, do that.
Come to me.
It's gonna thin out his library, basically, so that he doesn't draw a land when he doesn't want to draw a land. Did he do that? Yeah, well, top 4 cards. The chances are high that one of them is a land. It's not the top card, it's the top 4 cards. I would be surprised if every time he looks at the top card he pulls out a land. This match has taken quite some time. What do you pull out of your hat? What do you pull out of your hat? So things that we can go without is this Gatewing Spy, not so much. We can go with the Salvager of Secrets without, and we can go without the Seafloor Oracle. Those were my two options that I don't want to block with. I can sacrifice my Gatewing Spy next if I have to. I don't really want him to target any of my creatures without additional costs. He did not attack. Okay. We're gonna choose to draw a card. 1, 2, 3. My turn. Nice. Alright, he gave up. I guess that's one way to win the game. And as much as I really like these 750 coins to exchange for... Let's do another one. To exchange for another pack, we'll just do another game. Hopefully this doesn't take as long as the one prior. But when you have a deck, like in online games, less than... This is a good chance we'll shoot ourselves in the foot with this one. In online, less so than in real or active paper Magic, when you have that many synergy on the board, it's really hard to keep track of it. And there's like your mental capacity, so to say, needs to be enough to actually handle all the consequences of your actions. That's why I love playing Magic Online or Magic the Gathering Arena, because the game keeps track of most of the important stuff, really. So you can't skip over or miss most of the stuff. Obviously, you cannot take actions like tapping all your merfolk to get a counter and just miss out on that. I think we got lucky there on that land draw. So he could opt to counter that counter, I guess. He did not. Oh, yeah, ability. So he could have sacrificed the Storm Tamer to counter that +1/+1 counter. I like that we have an island. I really would like to draw a... It's one of the really annoying cards. Gleaming Observer. It's a really nice power curve that the Gleaming Observer has. Like, tons of value in that card. I think we'll just play Kopala and call it a day. Since he could have jump blocked a Jungle Delver. So I want to draw a land, and if I would prefer a forest, but I really want to draw a land. Ouch. Okay, so that's that's the least favorite land I wanted to draw here. But that basically ensures I'll get another forest. Let's see what happens here. It's probably gonna attack with his Demon Catastrophe. Flying Trample. There's nothing in my deck that can handle that. I think we're on the far back foot here in this game, since we don't get any of our cards going. Yeah, there's nothing really we can do here. We'll just eat it. We'll just eat it. We would have to block with all three to damage to kill the Gleaming Observer, and we'll lose at least 2 in the process. So let's see what we can come up with in the next turn. Otherwise, we'll have only that next turn before we're done. But forward toast. Salvager of Secrets doesn't do anything for us, really. We let the Jungle Delver attack. So if he chooses to block with the Death Baron, that's a win in our book. If he chooses to block with the army, that's a win in our book. So we'll give him this little rope to hang himself on. What do you have in store next? Okay, that's an unusual card to have in this deck. We don't have enough damage. Hello. Yeah, we're done. We don't have any, we didn't draw any of our cards required to handle the Demon of Catastrophe. The last ditch effort that we can do is declare blockers and hope for a disperse on his attack phase. So we would need to top deck a disperse right here in order to make it one more turn, which would disperse the Demon Catastrophes, and we could jump the Gleaming Observer. Oh, we're done. We are done. We are done. Done, 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 done. Another flyer that we can't handle. I can't tap one of my merfolk because I need... Oops, that's it. That is it. We came online way too late, and then we didn't draw the cards that we needed. Or we didn't really draw the best cards that we had available in the deck. We have this combo again. Does this get us to like turn 3 enough? So that we draw up more stuff. Kazmina is only in this deck for the spells your opponent casts that target a creature or planeswalker you control cost 2 more to cast. As soon as I open another valuable merfolk card, in a pack, I will replace her, but she's just in this deck, not being a merfolk card, for her planeswalker ability, and for like the potential 5 additional life I would have just by the opponent attacking the planeswalker instead of me, and reducing the life points of him. So he's not attacking. Gonna do River's Herald's Boon. Because that makes him flying next turn if I wanted to. He has all the fancy lands. Sure, do that. Nothing I can do about it anyways. I'm gonna... An attack. He's not gonna block. Alright.
And learn your true power.
I'm not gonna cast that 2/2 wizard spell since he can only do 1 damage to her, and it would remove 2 loyalty counters for that 1 blocker if he chooses to attack her. Okay. So much for the planeswalker. But that means he can't target any of his of my other valuable spells. So the power curve in his deck is a lot steeper than in mine, since like he has all these rare lands in play already. He plays mostly rares and uncommons at this point. Do I want this 5th land? I do not. Well, there's nothing I can play alternative. I'm gonna do give you the chance to block, I guess. And then play Merfolk Mistbinder, saving my Skatewing for next turn. Since now he's not gonna want to block the Jade Bear. Do that. Okay. He's not choosing to attack, which is annoying. What do you have in your deck that makes me wanna lose the game, I guess? Or are you missing something that you're not drawing? I'm gonna get back my Jungle Delver if I wanted to. I could Titanic Brawl, Ujin the Ineffable, color spell cost 2 less to cast, exile the top card of your library face down and look at it. No more colors. Interesting.
Do not defy the designs of an elder.
We're gonna attack Eugen. He's gonna probably use it. Yup. We're gonna use that.
My plans do not include you.
Sure. Jade Light Ranger. It's okay at this point. I need more than River Sneak to get out of this situation. We're gonna attack with all we have. One of them eats that guy, one eats that, and you eat that. And then if we have nothing to block next turn, we'll probably Titanic Growth for the win, since he needs to deal with my flyer. Oh, that's fine. I have that. Okay, his ability is quite annoying.
No accounting for luck. Maybe yours will hold.
Yep, that's what I've done.
Looking to elevate yourself? Perhaps a pair of stilts.
Sure, that's not gonna help you win. That is enough. Cha-ching! So all his fancy cards didn't do him any good to actually use them. He had one creature in game like for the whole time, and then Eugen or whatever you pronounce him. Alright, so as the last action on the stream, we're gonna get another pack. We're gonna go for a core set pack, and then we're gonna open it up, and then we're gonna end the stream at this point. I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see more of, what I could explain more. This is the battlefield credit to white knight creature token with vigilance. Plummet is nice. Ether shield artificer. Twin door. Gobble walls. 2 target creature. Nice. And patient rebuilding. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent puts the top 3 cards of the library into their graveyard, then you draw a card for each land card put into the graveyard this way. Fine. Alrighty. As I said before, please leave a comment down below if you really have any valuable feedback for me. Other than that, I see you next time when I have time to stream, I guess, and it will probably be some more Magic the Gathering. Alrighty. See ya. Bye.